Hello everyone. On this video we will be looking at order of operations with integers. Okay. Now if you remember from my previous order of operations video, you remember your PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Where your P is for your parentheses. Now parentheses can include other grouping symbols like brackets, braces, absolute values. All those grouping symbols fall under the parentheses. Then you have your exponents, which is a number raised to the power of another number. Then you have your multiplication for your M, and your D is for your division. Your A is your addition, and your S is your subtraction. Now, if you remember, the multiplication and division are done together. From left to right. And same thing with addition and subtraction. They are done together from left to right. Okay. So if you are still writing, feel free to press pause. But we're going to go ahead and jump into some examples using order of operations with positive and negative integers. Okay. So let's say, for example, we wanted to evaluate 3 times 2 to the third power minus 4, negative 30 minus 4 times 5 plus 9, and 160 minus 4 plus 6 times negative 2 times negative 3. Okay. Now for A, 3 times 2 to the third power minus 4. Okay. We have to see if we have any parentheses. So no parentheses. We have exponent. Okay, so remember that, putting that on the side there, 2 to the third power is 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so 3 times 8 minus 4. Okay, then we do our multiplication and division from left to right. This is the only multiplication or division that we have. So 3 times 8 is 24. So you have 24 minus 4. Then we do our addition or subtraction. 24 minus 4, which is 20. Okay, so that one didn't have any negative integers in it, just positive. So let's look at B, where we have a couple of negative integers in there. Let me separate this a little bit. Okay, so negative 30 minus 4 times 5 plus 9. Okay, and again, we don't have any parentheses or grouping symbols, so we can cross that out. And we don't have any exponents, so we can cross that out. But we have multiplication and division, which we're going to solve from left to right. Okay, and that's this part right here. Okay, so this becomes negative 30 minus 4 times 5, which is 20. So this becomes our 20 plus 9. Okay, and now we do our adding or subtracting from left to right. Okay, so we start here, negative 30 minus 20. Okay, so if you remember the definition of subtraction, you can see negative 30 minus 20. You can rewrite that as negative 30 plus negative 20, which is negative 50. Okay, so we have negative 50 plus 9, and now we do these two. Negative 50 plus 9 is negative 41. Okay, so now we're going to do C, which is 160 minus 4 plus 6 times negative 2 times negative 3. Okay, and again, we don't have any parentheses. Remember, these parentheses are just used for multiplication, so we don't count those as parentheses. Okay, we don't have any exponents. We do have multiplication or division that we're going to solve from left to right. Okay, so going left to right, this is the multiplication we have. Okay, so we can see here, 6 times negative 2 times negative 3. 6 times negative 2, 6 times 2 is 12. Positive times negative is negative. So we have negative 12 times negative 3. 12 times 3 is 36. Negative times negative is positive. So this all becomes positive 36. So we have 160 minus 4 plus, I'll just put 36 since it represents that there. Okay, so now we do our addition or subtraction from left to right. Move that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so starting from left to right, so you have 160 minus 4 is 156. So we have 156 plus 36, which is equal to 192. All right, so if you are still writing, feel free to press pause and finish up. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our next group of examples. Okay, so what if we wanted to evaluate 5 to the third power plus 2 times negative 8 minus 3 times 2, and all of that is in parentheses. Or B, we had negative 4 times, you have your left bracket, 2 plus 3 times the difference of 4 minus 8 squared, close parentheses and close bracket, minus 2. Okay, so what I want you to do is go ahead and press pause and again try to do these on your own. All right, so I'm assuming you've pressed pause, so let's go ahead and verify. Okay, so for A, we have 5 to the third plus 2 times negative 8 minus 3 times 2. So we do have something in parentheses, so always do that over on the side. So for your parentheses, you have negative 8 minus 3 times 2, and you do your own order of operations for that. Okay, so inside the parentheses, you don't have another set of parentheses. You don't have exponents. You have multiplication and division that you're going to do from left to right. So you have 3 times 2. So you have negative 8 minus 3 times 2, which is 6. And then you're adding a subtraction. Negative 8 minus 6 is negative 14. So everything in the parentheses becomes negative 14. So we have 5 to the third plus 2 times negative 14. Okay, so now we do our exponents, which is 5 to the third power. Okay, so you know that 5 to the third power is 5 times 5 times 5. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. Okay, so this 5 to the third gets replaced with 125 plus 2 times negative 14. Okay, so now we do our multiplication and division from left to right. And this is the only multiplication we have. So we have 125 plus 2 times negative 14 is negative 28. Okay, now we do our adding and subtracting. We don't need to put the left to right, but I'm going to do it anyway. So 125 plus negative 28 is positive 97. Okay, so let's look at problem B. All right, so we have negative 4 times 2 plus 3 times 4 minus 8 squared minus 2. We see we have not only parentheses, but we have brackets. So everything in here falls under that grouping symbol. Okay, so once again, we go to the side and solve what's in there. So inside of our grouping symbols, we have 2 plus 3 times 4 minus 8 squared. Okay, so in here we have parentheses here. So 4 minus 8 squared becomes 4 minus 64, which if you simplify it a little bit more, becomes 2 plus 3 times 4 minus 64 is negative 60. Okay, because remember, 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. Okay, so now you do your exponents. You don't have any other exponents because you already did these. So you have multiplication and division from left to right. So this is the only multiplication you have here. So that's 2 plus 3 times negative 60 is negative 180. Uh-oh, let me give a little more room there for my negative sign. So negative 180. And then you do your adding and subtracting, where 2 plus negative 180 is negative 178. Okay, so everything inside the brackets becomes negative 178. So you have negative 4 times negative 178 minus 2. Okay, so now we look, we don't have any exponents. We do have multiplication or division from left to right, because you have negative 4 times negative 178, which gives us 4 times 178 is 712. And negative times a negative is a positive, so that stays positive. So we have 712 minus 2, and we do our adding and subtracting. 712 minus 2 is 710. All right, so if you are still writing, of course, feel free to pause it and finish up. Don't rush. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our last group of examples. Okay, so what if we wanted to evaluate 3 times negative 3 squared plus 2 times 2 squared divided by 5 minus 8 times 7 minus 9. And for B, you have 4 times the absolute value of 9 minus 7 plus the absolute value of negative 7 all over 6 to the third power minus 211. Okay, so go ahead and press pause and try these on your own. All right, so I'm assuming you've pressed pause and worked it out. So let's go ahead and verify once again. Okay, so let's look at problem A. Okay, so if you have your numerator and denominator, if you want, you can either apply the order of operations to the numerator and order of operations to the denominator, or you can rewrite it, which you end up doing the same steps. So you have 3 times negative 3 squared plus 2 times 2 squared divided by 5 minus 8 times 7 minus 9. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and perform the order of operations on both of those. Okay, so for this, you have parentheses, but inside the parentheses, let me move that over so I can have a little bit of room to do that on the left so it won't be very confusing or even more confusing. Okay, so everything inside of these parentheses, give a little more space. There we go. So you have negative 3 squared plus 2 times 2 squared. Okay, now inside of here we do our same order of operations. We don't have any more parentheses. Okay, we do have exponents. So we have 3 squared. Remember, a negative 3 squared without the parentheses is like saying negative 1 times 3 squared. So negative 1 times 3 squared is negative 1 times 9, which is negative 9. Plus 2 times, and 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, so now we do our multiplication and division from left to right. So we have negative 9 plus 2 times 4, which is 8. Then we do our adding and subtracting. Negative 8 plus 1, negative 9 plus 8 is negative 1. I'm jumping ahead. So we have negative 1. Okay, so everything inside the parentheses, don't really need the equal sign there. 3, so everything in there became negative 1. 3 times negative 1 divided by, oh, actually we can finish up in here. Might as well get it all done. Have your exponents, your multiplication and division, because 3 times negative 1 is just negative 3. So we have negative 3 for everything here, just becomes negative 3. And there's no adding and subtraction, so we can skip that. Now we do this side, which is pretty easy. It's 5 minus 8. We know that 5 minus 8 equals negative 3. And 7 minus 9 is negative 2. Okay. So if we have 5 minus 8 times 7 minus 9, that's just negative 3 times negative 2, which is positive 6. So this becomes divided by positive 6. Okay, so negative 3 divided by positive 6, if you want, you can rewrite it as negative 3 divided by positive 6. Okay. Okay, now we can simplify this because we're going to get that negative and just bring it out to the front, because you can do that. And 3, we have 3 times 1, and 6 is 3 times 2. Any number divided by itself is just 1. So this is just negative 1/2. All right, so let's go ahead and solve B. Okay, so you have 4 times the absolute value of 9 minus 7. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and rewrite it. Okay, so you have 4 times the absolute value of 9 minus 7 plus the absolute value of negative 7 divided by 6 to the third power minus 211. Okay, so again here, we're going to solve that over here. Okay, now inside these brackets, we're going to treat those as our P, our parentheses. Okay, so to solve what's inside of here, we have the absolute value of 9, well, we'll put the 4 right there. The absolute value of 9 minus 7 plus the absolute value of negative 7. where we're going to solve whatever's in the grouping symbols first. Okay, so we have the absolute value of 9 minus 7, so 9 minus 7 is 2, so we have 4 times the absolute value of 2 plus the absolute value of negative 7. So if we simplify that any further, 4 times the absolute value of 2, the absolute value of 2 is just 2. So we have 4 times 2 plus the absolute value of negative 7 is positive 7. So plus 7. Okay. And again, we don't have any exponents to worry about. We do have multiplication or division. We're going to multiply those two. So 4 times 2 is 8, and bring down that plus 7. Now we're going to do our adding and subtracting, where 8 plus 7 is 15. Bring that up. Here we go. Okay, so everything here becomes 15. Okay, so we don't have any more exponents or multiplication or division or adding and subtracting. We did it all over here. Okay, so negative 15 divided by everything over here. We're going to do our order of operations for that. Okay, so you have 6 to the third minus 211. So you have any parentheses, so you can cross that out. We have exponents, so 6 to the third power is 6 times 6 times 6, which is 216, minus 211. We don't have any multiplication or division, but we do have adding and subtracting, where 216 minus 211 is 5. So everything in here becomes 5. Okay, so if we rewrite this, 15 divided by 5, that's just 15 divided by 5, which is equal to 3. Okay, so again, nothing's really changed from the last order of operations. We're just kind of throwing in some new positive and negative numbers now, but everything else is exactly the same. Okay, so hopefully this all made sense, and I will see you on the next video.